What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Funboxing with Will. I am your host, Will, with H2O Co. Film and Photo, and today we're going to be doing a review / tutorial on the Worksharp Precision Sharpener. It's a nifty little gadget I picked up not too long ago. I had to do a little bit of digging to find one, but I've been very impressed with it, so let's get into that review. Alrighty, everybody, now that we're back, before we get into the review and the tutorial, I just want to go ahead and thank all of my 278 subscribers, I believe. I do, tech unboxings. I do a lot of things featured around filmmaking and camera equipment, camera gear, electronics. Every once in a while, I'll throw in some EDC stuff. What I enjoy, the things that I pick up and purchase, I like giving reviews on. Try to give honest reviews to people. I've never been sponsored, or I'm not a shill or a sellout. If I don't like something, I'll definitely tell you what I don't like about it. So if you like that kind of a review, those kind of reviews and unboxings, things of that nature, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell to receive notifications of when I put out new videos. I try to put one out once a week, usually, like I said, just tech unboxings and such. But anyways, getting into today's review, like I had said, we're doing a review on the Precision Sharpener Precision Adjust Knife Sharpener by Worksharp. I had recently gotten into, if you follow my channel, you'll know that over the last few months I've gotten into collecting knives. I actually have gotten a pretty big collection going in the short period of time that I've been collecting knives. I just picked up a couple Benchmades recently that I'm going to be doing reviews on. One of them is the 940 Osborne, the 945 BK1 Mini Osborne for the 20th anniversary of Benchmade having the Osborne design, and then the last one I got was the Benchmade Bug Out. Two very popular Benchmade knives. And so I wanted to get something to maintain them. I got some True Glide nano oil, which they suggest to put in the pivots of your knives, and then I got a sharpener. Now I have a strop and I have a tri-stone that's a whetstone, and it worked great. I loved the way it worked, but I wanted to find something that was pretty much idiot proof, because if you're having an off day with your angles and you're working a whetstone, you could completely ruin your knife angle. And I'm not admittedly the best sharpener on the planet. I can get a good sharp edge on my knives generally, but until I had this baby, I was unable to get my knives razor hair shaving sharp. But since I've had this, it hasn't seemed to be a problem. There is one issue I have found with it, and the issue that I had found with it is that it is not that great for really small knives, because if you're doing a really small knife at a really shallow angle, like 15 to 20 degrees or so, you'll actually run into the clamp before you hit the edge of the blade. But I'll talk about that more in the tutorial part of the video. But yeah, as far as build and construction goes, I was looking for sharpeners online. I had found a couple coarse diamond plate sharpeners, like the Wicked Edge, very similar to this in design and pretty much the concept of how it works, where it's got a clamp that you put your knife blade in, and then it has an adjustable angled pivot with a rod that has multiple or sometimes singular diamond plates on there for you to sand to sharpen your knives. And so when I saw this one, considering that a lot of the others were pretty expensive. They ran anywhere from, you know, $150 to $300. I think the Wicked Edge is an almost $400 sharpener. I was kind of saddened by that. I was hoping I was going to be able to find something in that category of sharpener for less money. Well, then I came across the Worksharp, and at the time that I'd come across it, I believe it was $57.99. I saw it on Amazon. I didn't buy it that night, and I slept on it. And the next morning I went to go buy it, and they were sold out. They were out of stock. And to my knowledge, they've been out of stock on Amazon since. I ended up actually having to contact the company, Workshop themselves, and have it shipped from their store or their factory location, because I had called a lot of popular outdoor sports stores, Dick's Sporting Goods, Cabela's, I think I even called Bass Pro Shop, and basically everybody was telling me that this new item had just been released, had been flying off the shelves. Excuse me. So I really wanted to get my hands on one to try it out, and it took me a couple weeks, but I did finally find the number for the company, called the company, and had them ship me one. Now, the construction of it is fairly good. It's made out of a very durable polymer plastic. It is, compared to like something like the Wicked Edge that is a completely steel setup, it's kind of going to feel, I would assume, a little bit less expensive. It would feel cheaper to you if you were coming from something like the Wicked Edge. But I'm overall impressed with the construction of it. It's got pretty durable, hard plastic. Pretty much everywhere except for the actual hardware, the screws, the nuts, the bolts. Those are all steel, I believe. The clamp itself is, I believe, made out of a aircraft aluminum and plastic. The unique and nice thing about this is, though, that it comes in 4 parts. It's very easy to assemble. You just click this part onto the base, which I've already done, and then it has your clamp for your knives, to put the knives in, and then it has your rod to do your sharpening on. And it comes with 3 different stones here that you can simply twist, and the new stone will lock into place. Everything's magnetic on it, though. It clicks in, the rod clicks into the unit itself magnetically, and your clamp also clips into the unit magnetically. So there's a button on the back of the clamp where you can push it forward and it will rotate. Although it's such a stiff spring in there that I find it so difficult sometimes when I'm working with it. Also, if the knife handle is a little bit longer, it'll bump into the table. So generally what I do is I'll just remove it with the knife in it, flip it over, and then work my other edge. But I wanted to try something different today, so I actually did a top-down setup in my kitchen, and I'm going to go over a tutorial real quick to show you how to use this sharpener, and we're going to go over to the table here. So let's get over to the kitchen. Okay guys, so my apologies if this portion of the audio is a little bit worse for wear than the rest of my video. This is the first time I'm experimenting with a top-down view, and I didn't really have a rig for this, so I pretty much ended up throwing my GoPro Hero 8 onto a boom pole and went that route. So I ordered the media mod again because my old one broke, so I should have an external mic hookup for this camera again here pretty shortly, so that should fix that problem just in case. But like I said, today we're going to be doing a review on the Worksharp sharpener that I seem to have good luck with so far. It seems pretty good. It's kind of cheap. I mean, the materials are really well made. They're durable feeling, but at the end of the day, it's plastic. It isn't really metal for the most part, so it still has that plastic feel to it, which I don't know. I feel like it does the job pretty well, though. I did notice, so I do collect knives. I've done a couple knife videos on my channel. I'm mostly a tech guy, but this is a piece of technology, so I did want to review it. I have some of my knives here. I love Benchmade, Spyderco, Civivi, Wee. These are the name brand knives that I usually go for and tend to veer towards, just because they're high quality. They might be a little bit more expensive, but they are that high quality that I'm looking for in a knife. So one thing I did notice about this sharpener in particular is that it does have some issues with smaller bladed knives. So this, for instance, is the Wee Justin Lundquist Angst, and it's a smaller dagger style stiletto blade. It is about 2.5 inches of blade steel, but as you can see, it's a very narrow blade. And what I've noticed is that when I put this in the clamp, very little of the actual edge is left to be worked on, and what ends up happening on certain lower angles, like 15 through I'd say almost 20 degrees, is that the sharpening pallet, the diamond plate, actually rubs up against the clamp itself. So it's kind of difficult to sharpen these smaller blades like that one, or the front flipper, the Kaiser Feist is another one that I noticed I had that issue with. Not as bad, but still, it did just barely by a hair graze the clip itself when I sharpened the knife. So that was kind of disappointing, but again, that's so far I've sharpened everything from a 11-inch kitchen knife. I bought the Forged and Fire knockoff set from Fry's, and it's a fairly good knife. It's about 12 inches long and about almost 2.5 inches wide, and it didn't have any problems doing that. It was a little heavy for the setup here, so I did have to clamp this to my table to get that to work without tipping over. But other than that, the clamp seemed to hold up really well, and the distance between the plates here and the blade were pretty much perfect. So today I'm going to do I don't know, I was thinking about doing my Benchmade bug out, but I just got this like 2 weeks ago, so I don't really want to mess with the factory edge on that. So we're gonna go ahead and do the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Now the Paramilitary 2 that I have is pretty sharp. Let me get a piece of paper here to show you guys. It did come, I mean, it is pretty sharp already. It's paper cutting sharp. But I'm just gonna go ahead and do a real quick resharpen on it just to give you guys an idea of how this system works. So essentially you unscrew the clamp here, you put the knife into the clamp about halfway down that blade, not the length of the knife, but the blade itself. So you wanna have a good like centered blade. And then you just tighten the clamp down, and then you place the clamp back in. Everything is magnetic, including the rod for the plates here, the diamond plates. Sorry. Okay, so including the diamond plates here, these can be switched. You usually want to start with your lowest grit, which I believe is 320 on this one. It goes from 320 to 800, and then it has this porcelain smooth one right here just to buff out the scratches in the blade's edge. Now, I usually sharpen my knives between 22 and 17 degrees, simply because that gives me the best results personally that I've found. But with my Spyderco, I contacted them and they said that their blades usually are shaved down to a 15 to 17 degree angle on each side with an apex of 34 degrees. So I'm gonna keep with the 15 degree angle. I already have it set up, but if you look here, or I'm actually gonna do 16 degrees. But if you look here, this dial right here, you just rotate this dial and it heightens or lowers the pivot rod so you can get the exact angle that you're looking for when you're doing your sharpening. And then essentially you want to remember how many strokes you put down on the blade. So on each side you want to be equivalent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you don't want to really push hard. Also, there's a button here for you to push this out and rotate the blade. I've just found it easier just to pull it out and switch it over, so I never really use that button. But then, okay, so what you're feeling for is a burr on this side, almost like a wire. And I feel it right here on the edge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm not gonna push hard, but I'm gonna do another 10 strokes the opposite way. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Also, I like holding this down just to give me better grip and better stability with such a light I mean, it's got some heft to it, but it's still a pretty light unit. So now that I did the 10, I'm going to cut down half. So I'm going to do 5 strokes on each side. Same grit though. So I did 5 strokes that side. I'm going to flip it. And again, I'm just showing you a quick demonstration. If your knife is really dull, it's going to take a lot more than just 10 swipes through it, but this is already sharp, like I said, so I'm just going to do this real quick. So I'm going to do 5 on this side too. And now that I've got those 5, I can feel that wire burr on the other side. So I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to cut it down to 3. Then I'm going to switch it and do my second side with the 3 strokes. And now that burr should be getting pushed down to a fine point. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over to the 800 grit, and I'm going to start again at 10 strokes on each side. Eight, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I'm going to flip it back to the original position, and I'm going to cut it in half, go down to 5 swipes on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip it, 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to put it back into its original position and cut it down to 3 swipes. 1, 2, 3. Flip it, do the 3 swipes. And then, ooh, that's pretty sharp. I'm going to go ahead and start the whole process over again with the 10 each side, 5 each side, 3 each side, but with the ceramic plate. So I'm going to put it back into the original position. 7, 8, 9, 10. And what this does is it gets the scratch marks out of the edge. It gives it more of a polished look as opposed to a rough edge. And it just kind of hones the blade a little bit further. So 1, 2, 3. Oh. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to cut it down to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's a pretty sharp blade. So then you just take the clamp out and you can go ahead and test it again. And as you can see, it is very sharp. I can get curly Q little slivers of paper out of that. So it is a very, very precision piece of equipment, so you can get a very precision edge on your knife. And again, like I said, this knife was already sharp. If you want to go ahead and re-angle a knife, it's going to take you a lot more time on the first grit here. And honestly, the first grit here, I would always start on a stone if possible, if you own one. I usually, to reshape a blade, I will start on a hard stone, a water stone, and then I'll take it from the water stone to down to this. So, but yeah, it does a really good job, especially for the price point. I've seen other units of this similar design, and they're not as compact as this, and they go for much more, hundreds of dollars. This one I found for $57.99 back when they first came out. I have noticed as the availability has lessened, the price has gone up on certain websites. But also I like to keep a piece of paper in here because there is pieces of rubber in there that clamp down on the knife, and if you clamp this down too tight without something in between there, it can get those pieces of rubber to stick to themselves. And just to keep longevity of the product, I like to put a piece of paper in there. I don't know if that's absolutely necessary, but it's just something I like to do. So again, it's the Worksharp Precision Sharpener, and yeah. So let me know what you think of this top-down view, and if it was helpful at all for explaining this video. And yeah, let's get back over to the desk. All right, so I hope that tutorial was helpful. I hope it helped some of you out there who may not have known exactly how to use the sharpener, maybe gave you a little baseline idea of how to use it. Like I've said, I think it's a pretty durable quality utensil or tool, and I've been using it to sharpen all of my knives since I purchased it, and it's done very well, except for with two of the knives I own, which were those two Justin Lundquist designs that I had shown you in the tutorial part of the video. Those two, they just happen to be too thin of a blade, or not thin as in blade stock, but like width, it was just a little too thin. So I was having that problem where the diamond plate would actually hit the clamp itself. But other than that, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 stars. I love it, and it's made every knife in my house pretty dang sharp. So it does its job, and it does it well, and at a great price point considering the competition and where they're priced at. So if I can find one right now on Amazon, or a link maybe to a different outdoor sporting goods shop, I will go ahead and leave that in the description. Other than that, I would look at, if you can't find it anywhere else, I would look at contacting Worksharp themselves like I did, but then again, it's been 6 months or so since I purchased it, so I'm not sure how the availability has improved since then. But hopefully you guys will be able to find one if you're looking for one. And other than that, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you guys have a great night, stay safe, and above all, stay creative, my friends. We need more of that in this world. Have a great night, guys.